I think the most important thing to remember is that the East Coast domestic market remains fully supplied. At Shell, we are already supplying 15% of our gas production to the domestic market. So we need to be really careful as we look to stimulate more supply that there aren't unintended consequences that will, over the medium and longer term, actually exacerbate the problem.
Shouldn't governments be making certain that forecast shortfalls don't occur?
Absolutely. Responsible governments should be responding to potential shortfalls, but the most effective way to do that is to stimulate more supply. The best way to achieve sustainably lower prices for Australian consumers is to increase the available supply that we can deliver to the domestic market and underpin our economic prosperity by respecting our regional trade partners and those firm long-term commitments.
Why won't a gas reservation policy satisfy domestic needs?
A gas reservation policy can have the effect of artificially pushing additional volumes into the domestic market. If it does so in a way that either breaks long-term contracts or which send signals to different players in the market that they should delay their contracting because more intervention will come and the prices will be artificially pushed lower, then that operates both as a brake on investment and can create a greater shortfall in the short term.
Can you understand Australians being incredulous that at times East Coast gas users are paying more than export parity prices?
We totally understand that the cost of living is the key concern for Australian consumers and the Australian public at the moment. We absolutely believe in the need for a well-functioning and well-supplied domestic gas market. And we know that the way to get those prices down is to increase supply to ensure that all participants in the gas chain, not just a couple of LNG exporters, are pointing in the same direction to get that gas at its lowest possible cost to the places where it's needed most.
It doesn't make any sense that Australia is now building import terminals for LNG.
I think, Kirsten, it is indeed a perverse situation that a country as richly endowed with gas resources as Australia finds itself in a position where the only way in the short term for those southern shortfalls to be addressed appears to be some form of import terminal. And we're not advocating for that.
Has the opposition's call for a gas reservation policy come as a shock to the gas sector?
I think there have been many players in the broader economy calling for a domestic gas reservation for a while. I think that the better answer continues to be, let's really get out of removing the hurdles to investment that exist now. Since 2017, there's been more than half a dozen interventions into the gas market in Australia. Every single one of those interventions increases sovereign risk, makes it harder to develop gas reserves, and ultimately leaves the Australian consumer more exposed to market distortions.
How would a reservation policy differ to the emergency powers the Prime Minister has to direct gas companies to divert supply to the Australian market?
Yeah, so really good question. Right now, and indeed over the last 6 or 7 years, the Australian East Coast gas market has indeed been fully supplied. And numerous ACCC and AEMO reports confirm that. Of course, there are shocks that come into the system. For example, when the Callide Power Station had problems a year or two ago. When that happens, AEMO's powers are a very focused and targeted opportunity to call on producers on a short-term basis to divert additional volumes to make sure that the system remains stable. I'm really proud of the way the gas industry has responded every time there has been a supply shock. Those tools are working, and what we would encourage both sides of the political debate, both of whom actually recognise the need for additional gas supply, to really lean in to promoting the investment stimulus that will bring that supply to market as quickly and as efficiently as possible. That's what serves the Australian consumer best today. That's what helps Australia transition to a net zero economy fastest and preserves our national prosperity as we move forward.
Okay, Cecile Wake, thank you.
Thank you for your time.